Well, some time ago we did share with you that we had built a live edge table, or Brent had built it. So we found this down in Creston, a chunk of live Douglas fir, and put it together, put the pedestal underneath it, and then as we were using it, we discovered in the last whatever number of months it's been that it just needed a little bit of tweaking. And Brent has also done some extra layers of varnish on it. So this is how that all went down.
Well, hello everyone. Today is not a very busy day, but it's more of a technical day. Sort of. When I put this table together, this one here, I've got about 7 coats of lacquer on it, or what do you call it? Yeah, varnish, or yeah, I can't think of the correct terminology for the exact product I was using. I think it's a Varathane. Anyways, so it was not sitting perfectly centered on the pedestal. That's why I added these little outriggers, so to say, and to try and stabilize it a little bit end to end. Side to side is a little bit off. I moved the top about 1.75 inches that direction, as it was leaning this way towards this corner over here. So I thought if I push it that way, that will bring this end up a little bit and drop that far side. So I did that, and now this side here is a little bit low. So I brought it back about 3/4 inch. So I still have to fine tune it and find that exact spot that will be nice and perfectly level. I sit at the far end. Miriam sits on this side over here when it's up against the benches here. So it's not a big deal right now, but in time I would like to get it straightened out properly. So the base is pretty much done, and what I've done now, as you can see, I've got all the blues in here, all of the epoxy, and now I've got all of these small little holes all the way around both sides. That is the yellow epoxy. So I've had that on there for about anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes so far. Once it's all dried, I can sand it down and see where I need to fill in the holes. And the edging, can't really do too much about that. It's a little bit rough. It's supposed to be a live edge, but well, that's the way it is. I've got the end sealed on my end because there were some pretty deep holes in there. But the top, once all this yellow is sanded down, and I've got to be able, I will be able to put a second coat of anything on there. Once that is sanded down, probably with about an 80 or 120 grit, get it nice and smooth, and then I'll throw a couple more coats of the lacquer on top of it, and to give it a good seal. And then I'll show you the finished product then. But right now I just have to wait for all this current epoxy to dry and see how that goes. So you can see what it's like now. I love the blues in there, and then Miriam told me I should put the yellow in, so that's a good contrast. I was thinking red, but well, that might have been a little too much. Anyhow, that's the way it's sitting right now. I'll show you later. So I've recently, well, last night I did all the first coat of epoxy. As you can see here, it's all covered up. A couple of the holes sunk through a little bit. Most of them are good. This crack down the middle here Requires probably a little bit more. All of these ones are okay. A couple of small holes, because those holes are going down, and since it's live edge, it goes out the other side here. I'll just come around and show you. See, it's fairly rough on the outside edge here. So some of these bug holes actually go down and out. That's not a big deal, but what I started doing this morning, I've got some 120 sandpaper, and I started doing that, and that's a lot of work. So what I've done instead, I went and bought a couple of belts for my neighbor's belt sander that I just borrowed. I got an 80 and a 120 grit there. I think on there right now is a 50. So I'm going to give it a quick run with the 50 and see how it goes, and then I'll drop to an 80. And then for the final little bit, I'm just going to do the 120 grit. And I'll take it outside for all of that because it's going to be very dusty. And for all of the holes that have sunk through with this yellow, the blue is complete. With the yellow, since there's a few cracks and holes here and there, I'm just going to do a little bit more clear epoxy. And it's only a minimal amount, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. And then also, with that clear epoxy, I'm going to fill in these little gaps right here, right in front of the fireplace. A couple of small ones just in the front. I didn't cut it perfectly smooth when I did the tile, and this will take care of that so nothing falls down there and collects dust over time, or sawdust or hair or whatever. So that will be a secondary project for the day. This table will be the first project. I'll get that hauled outside, and then I'll work on that. And footage is probably going to be very boring, but we'll see if we can put a little bit on time lapse for you.
Sharing how this process is going for you. He is now vacuuming the dust. Turn it off for a second. I shut you down for a second.
Okay.
You were naughty and you forgot to tell us what you were doing out here with the the belt sander.
Well, sorry. I started off, well, I did talk about it this morning. The epoxy that I put on last night has finally cured, and it's fully hardened. So I had, this one here is a 50 grit to take off the large chunks, get it down to a more manageable, smoother surface. Then I've got an 80 on there right now, which I just went over it with that. I was vacuuming it up to get rid of all the dust that's in the holes to see where else I need to apply epoxy. The 120, that's for when I'm completely finishing it. And then I can put some more epoxy down. There's some dust in the hole there. Put some more epoxy down, and then eventually I will re-lacquer the entire top as well, which I want to put probably another half a dozen coats on it so it's nice and shiny, because it is such a beautiful grain on this. You can't tell now because it's been sanded and it's been scarred up, but yeah, it's going to look really good. That yellow is going to just stand right out. Can't wait.
Alrighty then. I'll leave you to it.
Okay.
Brad, why is the table on its side?
Oh, sorry about the bright light. Well, the length of the footing that I've got put on here is good for balancing the table lengthwise. It's all level and it's solid, but it still wobbles a little bit side to side. So instead of these little things here, I'm going to try something like a little outrigger, which I'm going to take the bottom of these feet off and put in one large board that goes all the way across here, out to the same width as this one, on both sides of the table. Hopefully that works to solidify it a little bit more so it isn't so tippy. And if that doesn't work, I'll move on to my next stage.
Back to the drawing board?
Yeah, I've got a couple other ideas in mind, but, well, hopefully this works.
All right.
So I started trying to work on the feet of the table to try and level it off a little bit while it was on its side. That didn't quite work out as well as I had planned, and it's much easier to just flip the table over just like this. And there's Miriam. And so what I've done for stability, as you can see, I've got the cross braces to the ends from the pedestal. And this is the pedestal that came out of our trailer. These little guys here are, this one's going on the other side. This one will be sitting on this side, just for a little side-to-side stability. And then what I was talking about earlier is this here was basically the pad that came off of the bottom of the pedestal like this. So everything was level here. I removed this piece here, and this is now garbage. What I'm going to be doing is putting this piece here. That was the one that I had originally had in the center. I had this one and this one in the center. It wasn't stable enough, so I put a solid piece in for the entire length. This is what I'll be doing here. As you can see, I've attached one screw in each of these here where those pads were, so that's still level. And then I'll attach this one over here. That'll give it a wider base this way. Hopefully that will alleviate the side-to-side rocking issue. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be solid enough that we can actually put a cup of coffee on it, or a glass of milk, or whatever, or a beer for that matter, and not spill it every time somebody moves the table. The only other alternative is remove all three of these pieces and throw one sheet down and go out another foot on each side. Keep it the same length here, but go out wider on each side to hopefully, well, that would definitely alleviate any sway issues. Barring that, the only other alternative is to remove pretty much everything except for the center pedestal. Remove that bar, remove the side bars, move that one, and then just put a solid leg in here, full width of the table, and one in this side, full width of the table, and make that the legs, and then get rid of all of this stuff in the center. Possibly including getting rid of the pedestal, because it will not be needed then, because it'll be solid on that end, solid on that end. But that's another day. Hopefully this will alleviate any issues that I've currently got. And once that is done, I can flip the table back upright, sand off the little bit of extra epoxy. I lost for words this morning. Sand off the excess epoxy, give the whole top a good sanding, and any little marks that I've got on the underside here and over there, and then I can put new Varathane over the entire thing and make it all nice and pretty. So once that's all done, I will show you, and hopefully this works. Well, sanding has begun. I've done the first stage, I guess you could call it. And this is what it looks like after the 50 grit. Nice and smooth. Still a little rock in it, but these outriggers here, I'm going to be putting some of those foam pads, the felt pads underneath. I'm going to double up those all the way along there and along there, and hopefully that will take care of the side-to-side rock. If not, well, cross that bridge when I get there. But anyways, sanding is the priority today. I've given it a nice sand. She's all smooth all the way down. And once I've done the 50 grit. Now I'm going to do the, I believe it's the 80, and then I've got a 120 as well, which is this one here. So I'm going to do a round or two with the 80, and then I'll do a round or two with the 120, make it all nice and soft and smooth. And then I will go from there and probably start lacquering here in about an hour or half an hour, and make sure there's no dust on it or dust in the holes like this here. That one there had a little bit of dust build up. That one does, that one does. Pretty much any of the holes have little dust buildups in them. Get them sanded down nice and neat, and then start on it. And then I'll show you what it's like. It's gonna look real pretty afterwards. It's got a really gorgeous grain once I put the lacquer on it, the Varathane. So that's where we're sitting right now. Finished sanding. I went over the whole thing 6 times. Twice with the 50 grit, twice with the 80 grit, and twice with the 120 grit. And this is what it turned out to be. Nice and smooth. And that is what the rough wood looks like. And this is one coat. I'm just doing the first coat now, and thought I'd give you a little bit of a glimpse into what it looked like as a plain Jane. She's very shiny. And I'm gonna do at least 5 or 6 coats. So she's gonna look good when she's finally done. What you hear in the background is the kettle. So anyways, last night I was able to get 2 coats. 2 coats? No, I did a 3rd coat. I did a 3rd coat last night right before bed. It says online, it says anywhere roughly 2 hours between coats. On the can it says 3 to 4 hours. It is water-based, so although it says oil on the can, so I'm just going with what it says on the can. So 3 to 4 hours between coats. So I was able to get 3 coats in yesterday, and then this morning I woke up, it was a little bit rough, so all I did was I took a little bit of sandpaper, just a 120 grit on one of these little blocks, and basically just the weight of the metal going back and forth took care of all of the rough spots. It was just tiny little rough spots. You'd barely notice it unless you run your fingertips across it. But that's what it looks like now. We're heading out to do some running around here in Nelson in a little bit, so probably back in about 5 hours or so, and I'll throw another coat on then. I'll probably give it a light sand as well if it needs it, and then give it another coat and see how it goes, and probably one more coat after that, and I think that should do it. And then I can concentrate on stabilizing the base, which I've got all together. I'm going to be putting felt pads on the outside 2 pieces, on that one and that one. This one has 4 pads on the center already, so that's solid. This one here and this one here are sticking up just a little bit, like not even an 1/8 of an inch, but it has a little bit of a wobble. So I'll take care of that, and then we'll see how it goes.
Now that all those parts have been done, this is what it looks like. It's very shiny.
Well, what I did, the main issues with this table was the wobble side to side and end to end. It's still got a little bit of a wobble in it, but if you take a look from the side, move the chair out of the way, these angle pieces, that one I'm going to keep there, or actually this one I'm going to keep here, that one I'm going to move to the end of the base on the floor and just do it completely vertical, and that will stabilize it this way, like end to end.
And this is the heavier end of the table.
Yeah, well, it's the table head or tabletop itself weighs probably 140 pounds, in that ballpark, 130, 140 pounds. It's 4 inches thick. It was cut down about 20 years ago. It's a nice big slab of Doug fir. And wanted a live edge table, so we got a live edge table, and I did the first, I think about 5, 6, 7 coats of varathane on it after I put in the blue epoxy. And there was a few little spots where you catch your finger or catch your pants or catch your shirt or whatever. So it wasn't totally finished as far as I was concerned. So I resanded everything, put more epoxy in, and that would be this yellow epoxy in a few different spots, mostly around the outside edge to fill the critter holes that had crawled through this thing many moons ago. So I filled all those in, smoothed out everything on the edges, and put 7 coats of varathane on top of this. That's why it's so nice and shiny, and it's really smooth. And I just can't stop doing this because I really like it. And any holes or valleys or anything that were on the tabletop are gone now. They're all smoothed in, and this is a finished product.
Hey.
Ta-da!
So that's all we wanted to share with you this week.
Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see,
Don't forget to subscribe.
and ring that bell for notifications.
Bye-bye.
Quick recap. It is the morning after I started sanding and staining, or putting varathane